Hello everyone and welcome you all to the first chapter of the t-shirt design in Photoshop tutorial. So as you guys can see, we are on our chapter number 1. So we are just starting off with t-shirt designing. So here, first chapter will be about a streetwear t-shirt. Okay, so I'll be showing you how you can actually design a streetwear where I'll be just designing and also putting around some text and give some effects and play around with the layers. So we'll be learning about all of that here in this particular class. So let's not waste time and let's get started on learning how to create a streetwear t-shirt in Photoshop. So guys, as you can see that I'm here in the homepage of the Photoshop. So now, as you guys are familiar with the interface, what I'm going to do now is I will come here and I will click on creating a new file. Okay, so I will be trying to create a new file from here. And what I'll do is I will just name this one as streetwear t-shirt. Okay, so streetwear t-shirt, and I'll check the width and the height. Okay, so this one is in pixels and I want my orientation to be kind of like this. If I want to take it in inches, what I'll do is I'll just take kind of like 12 into 14. Okay, so we can take that. So I'll just take 12 into 14 over here, and resolution is 300, and I need a RGB color mode. Then I do want a normal basic white background. Okay. The other way how you can actually do is you guys can basically just upload the image. Okay, so if you do have any image, you guys can just take that image down. As we're working with Photoshop, obviously we are going to use some photos, some stunning pictures, crop it out, and also change the color, make some stunning designs with that. Okay, so I can just create one over here. Or before that, let me just show you how you can just open up some pictures. So as you guys can see, I do have some pictures over here. And what I'll do is I'll just open one for right now. Okay, so as you guys can see, I do have my picture over here. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, I do have this image. And what I'm going to do is I will just remove the lock from here. Okay, otherwise I won't be able to work on this thing. So what I'll do is I'll just come here and I'll just click on this one. And now this one is ready to be edited. So now after removing that one, what I want to do is I want to just duplicate a layer. Okay, so I will just click on Ctrl J from my keyboard, and here you guys can see I do have a copy. Okay, so you guys should understand why did I copy it. Suppose while creating this thing I just mess up. Okay, I did any mistake. So in that case, I will already have this particular file which I can start working on. So what I'll do is I will just try to rename this. Okay, so statue copy, and I will just take this layer and I'll name this one as statue. Okay, and I'll come here in the statue, and what I'm going to do is now I am going to remove the background. Okay, suppose if I select this one, if you're using the version, like if you're using the latest version of the Photoshop, in that case you will be able to get the quick actions panel from where you guys can remove the background, and here as well you guys will be able to remove the background from here as well. If I just click, okay, this might take some time, but it will just try to remove the background here for me. Okay, so as you guys can see, so here, actually this one is now do have a layer mask, but why I'm not able to see is because I am just opening this above layer. Okay, so again, if I come here and if I want to delete it, I can delete it here as well. So I'll just come here in this copy, and again, what I'll do is I will just click here. Okay, I don't want to view the part underneath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the background from here. So as you guys can see here, I do have my image, and you guys can already see that this one is not perfect. Okay, So here it won't be perfect, but I'll be telling you whatever part you basically want, how you will be able to get that. So now what I'm going to do is I want to actually take the magic wand too. Okay. So for that, I will come here. Okay. So I want to select the magic wand tool. The shortcut key for that is W. So here I will select the magic wand tool, and I'll just zoom in a little bit. And what I'll do is I will try to select this parts over here. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have selected this particular part, and now I want to use the brush tool. As you guys can see, I have selected this layer, and now what I'll do is I will select the brush tool. Okay, so here you guys can just click on B from your keyboard, and now what I'll do is I can just take the brush type. Okay, so I will just come here, and maybe I'll just take a hard round brush, and if I want to decrease the size, I can actually decrease the size from here. Okay, so I can decrease the size kind of like this. Okay, so this is how I can actually select this one, and what I can do is I can just come down right around here, and I can just use my brush tool, okay, just to view the layer wherever I want. Okay, so as you guys can see, I am using my brush tool just to view the layers, or whatever layer do I want to use. In that case, I can use all of that over here. Okay, so this was kind of the use of the brush tool. Okay, so let me see, am I satisfied with this much or not? Okay, so I will just create some outline over here, so you guys can see now this one kind of looks good. And here as well, if I want to put up anything, I can also do that. So now here, as I am done using this one, okay, so this thing kind of looks like this right now. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to add a solid layer. Okay, so for that, what I'll do, I'll come here, okay, in this particular option, and I will come to the solid color option over here, and I will just click on OK. So here I will just click on OK. And what I need to make sure is that I do have this layer underneath. Okay, so I need to make sure that I do have my layer underneath my statue. Okay, so now I will keep this thing quite over here. Okay, otherwise I can just select a white color, and I can just click on OK. And what I can do is I will just select this one, and I'll just keep this thing underneath. And what I'm going to do is now I am going to create another layer. So for that, I will just create a threshold layer. So here, as you guys can see, once I have added the threshold layer, how this design actually looks. Okay, so I'll just move out back, and you guys can see I do have some kind of designs over here. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just adjust this, and I need to find a tone. Okay, so from here I need to find a mid tone. Okay, so maybe I can just take somewhat around 69 or 71. Threshold is quite fine, or yeah, 71 kind of looks good. And now, as you guys can see, I have find up and mid tone over here. And here you guys can see I do have these three layers. Okay, and now I will just click on Shift from my keyboard. And what I'll do is I'll just select all these three, and I'll click on Alt, Control, and E. Okay, and I can merge all of this together. And here you guys can see I have merged this one. Okay, so here, as you can see, I do have a merged version of this thing. Okay, so if you're using a Mac, in that case, what you need to do is you need to click on Option, Command, and E from your keyboard. Okay, as you don't have Control or Alt, in that case, you guys need to select that. And after that, what I will do is I will just I'll just hide all these three layers, and also the down part here as well. And what I'll do is I will come here in the select option, and from the select option, what I'll do is I'll come here in the color range. Okay, so now here, what I'm going to do is I am going to work with the fuzziness. Okay, so here you guys can take something around 60, 65, or 55. Okay, somewhat down from here. Okay, so I'll just manage this one somewhat around 70, and here I will click on OK. So here you guys can see I have selected 60, and I have now this thing over here. And once I do have this thing selected, what I'm going to do is I will come here and I will create a mask. Okay, so I will just create a layer mask. So here you guys can see now this total thing is not in the background. Okay, so now this thing is not in the background anymore. So now this one is basically a different layer. Okay, so I will come back here again. Okay, and now what I will be doing is if I want to see, okay, so I can just turn this back on. So this is how it actually looks right now. Okay, so as you guys can see, so I'll just turn this back off again. And now I will come here, select this one, and what I can do is I can click on apply layer mask. Okay, so I have applied the layer mask over, and this is how it actually looks. So again, what I'll do is I will come here. I will just hide this one, and I will come here in this threshold option. Okay, so as I am over here, what I want to do is I just want to adjust the color. Okay, so from here, what I want to do is I want to get more of the blacks, and I want to decrease the whites somewhat over here. So once I've done over here, okay, so I have just adjusted this thing somewhat around 135, and I'm quite well satisfied. Okay, so I'll just repeat the same process. Okay, so what I'll do is I will just click on shift and I'll select all these three. And what I can do is I can again click on Control Alt plus E from our keyboard. And here, as you guys can see, I do have this particular layer over here. Okay, so I will just hide again all this layer. I'll hide, and I only do have this layer over here. If I want to open this thing up, I can also open this layer up over here. So now what I'll do is I will again come here and I will apply a layer mask. Okay, so as you guys can see here, I have applied a layer mask. Or here, before applying this mask layer, you can just go one step back. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, I just went one step back. What I can do is I can come here in this select option, go to the color range, and from here you guys can just play around with the fuzziness. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, I can just play around with the fuzziness somewhat like this. And what I can do is I can just click on OK. So I'll just keep this somewhat around 130. And here, as you guys can see, I have clicked on OK. And now what I will do here is I will just click on the layer mask option now. Okay, so as you guys can see, now I have selected the layer mask option and right click here and apply the layer mask. Okay, so I have just applied the layer mask over here. So now what I'm going to do is I will name this thing up that I don't get confused. Okay, so here I will come and I will name this thing as the highlight. Okay, so I will name this one as the highlight, and I'll come here and I will name this one as the midtone. Okay, so I will just name this one as the midtone. So here I do have this thing, and what I need to make sure here is I should always have my highlight above my midtone. Okay, so in that case, what I can do is I can just bring this midtone down, or I can just take my highlights on top. Okay, it's basically the same thing. And now what I'm going to do is, as I do have my midtone and my highlight, so I can basically select some colors for them. So for that, I will come here in the effects option, and from here, I will go to the color overlay. Okay, so as you guys can see, I do have the color overlay option right around here. So basically, I can do select different colors. Okay, so as you guys can see, I can actually select a different color. So let me take pink for the midtone. Okay, so I'll just come here, and what I can do is I can just come here in my highlights, and what I can do is I can just select a different color. So I'll just come here for my highlights, and again I will just go to the effects, go to the color overlay option. Okay, and right click over here, and now what you can do is you can select some dark colors. Okay, so maybe if I just take somewhat in green. Okay, so if I just come somewhere around here, and let me take some dark green. Okay, so I can just click this one, and I'll just click on OK, and I'll OK this thing up over here as well. So here you guys can see how it basically looks. And if I just on all of this layer, okay, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, so this are the colors which I have just chose. So I'll just select this one. So here I do wanted some kind of like this. Okay, so now I do have this one. So this is how it basically looks. And what you're going to do now is I am going to select all these layers. Okay, the highlight, the midtone, this threshold, this fill as well. And what I'm going to do is now I will just click on Control G. Okay, so I will just make this one a group. So I will just name this one as the statue logo, or the statue. I'll just name this as the statue over here. And what I can do is, as you guys can see, I do have this thing over here. Now I want to create a t-shirt design. Okay, so now for that, I will come here, I'll click on file, okay, and I'll just click on new. And from here, what I can do is I can just search for a template. Okay, so here as I do have a different template, but what I'll be searching is something like A4 or maybe A3. Okay, we guys can actually take that. So from here, maybe I will get those particular sizes. Okay, so I do have my A4 over here, and I will just create this thing up. So uh, I just need to take a black background. So for that again, I will come here, go to new, go to A4, and here you guys can see I do have the RGB color mode. Resolution should be 300, and instead of choosing the white color, I will take the black one over here. And now I'll just click create. So here, as you guys can see, I do have a page right here. And what I can do is I can just come somewhere around here, and I can just click on Control C, come here, and you can just paste this one as Control V over here. But what you can see is this one is quite big, the size. Okay, so I can just bring the size down. So just click on Shift, and using Shift, you guys can just decrease the size of this particular thing right here. So now again, I'll just zoom in. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have just zoomed this thing around. So now I will just put this here in the middle. And what I can do is if I select out, here you guys can see how it actually looks. Okay, so this is how it actually looks. So if you want to do any other thing, like if you want to put up any text or anything as such, in that case, you guys can actually do that. And suppose if you want to get this thing sized up, okay, so you guys can get this thing sized up here as well. So I will just cover this whole layer. Okay, so I'll just cover this one from this side, and I'll just come here, and I'll just arrange this thing from this side here as well. And what I can do is I'll just bring this thing kind of like here. And what I can do is I can just give this thing text. Okay, so there are different text styles which you can use. You can just click here, and you guys can see I do have a text box. Okay, so here as you guys can see I do have a text box, and what I can do is as I do have this particular text box, I can just write a text. So from here, I can just search for different type of text. So let me just take the abstract groovy regular one. Okay, so I can just take abstract groovy. So from here, I will just take this abstract groovy. What I can do is I'll just backspace and the color I will choose up a different color. Okay, so let me try to choose it from a color palette. So let me just take a red color somewhere here. And what you can just write is the great ones. So I'll just write the great ones over here. Okay, so I'll just write the great once. And now what I can do is I will just select this with this one and I'll just bring this thing quite right over here. And if I want to decrease the size, I can just decrease the size of this thing. Okay, so I will just decrease the size of this thing somewhat over here and I can just place it according to the way I want. So now if I just right click, if I want to rotate this thing up, I can actually rotate this thing up here as well. So I won't do that. So for that, what I'll do is I'll just keep this thing somewhat over here. And here you guys can see I do have a perfect. So now the next thing what I'm going to do is if I just want to create some shapes, okay, I can just create some shapes here as well. Okay. So before that, what I can do is I can just write some text around. Okay. So I will just place this thing somewhere over here. Okay. So here on the top. Okay, so I will just place this thing over here. And what I can do is I can just place my text underneath the statue here as well. Okay, so I can just put this underneath here as well, but I'll just keep this thing quite right like here. And now again, I will take my text box. Okay, so I'll just keep my text box somewhat around here. And the first thing I'll do is I will just decrease the size. Okay, so I'll just decrease the size and maybe I will just write something. Okay, the invincibles never die. Okay, so I'll just write the invincibles never die. Okay, so as this one is the subtitle, what I'm going to do is I am going to select a different font color. Okay, or the red is also kind of looking good. Okay, so maybe I'll just keep this thing red only. I thought I'll just change the color over here, but this one quite looks great. So now if I want to create any shapes, so for that I will come here. As you guys can see, I do have my ellipse tool. And if I want to create some ellipse, I need to make sure that I do have a stroke here already. And now I will just make sure that I do have a white lining, or if I want to use a red stroke, in that case I can just use a red stroke from here. And now I will just click on shift. Okay, so I will click on shift and I'll just create a circle over here and I won't give this thing any fill. So I'll just come here and what I can do is I will not give this thing any fill over here. If I want to increase it, I can just increase this thing quite a bit over here. Okay, so now I will just place this thing somewhat like over here. And now I will click on Control J. Okay, so I'll just type Control J and now I'll write Control T. So now once I have clicked on this one, and now I will click on Shift plus Alt. And what I can do is I can just increase the size kind of like this. Okay. Otherwise, what I can do is I will just go back here again. Okay. So I'll just come back over here. And now I will just click on Control plus Alt. Okay. So here, as you guys can see, I am making some kind of shapes over here. So now again, I will just repeat the same process. Okay, so I'll just repeat the same process. Then for that again, I'll just click on Control J. And after clicking on Control J, what I'm going to do is I will click on Control T to transform. Okay, so again, Control Alt and select this layer. Okay, so here, as you guys can see, I have created this particular line here as well. Okay, so what I can do is I will just come here and I will again log this one. Okay, if I just want to log this thing up, I can basically log this thing up here as well. So for that, I need to come here and I just need to click on lock. So now this layer is basically locked. If I want to select any text around, okay, I can just select the text around. If I want to play around with those things, I can do that. Okay, but now what I want to do is if I want to create some line or anything as such, I can just create a line. So if I just want a straight line, in that case, what I need to do is I just need to click on shift. Okay, so I have clicked on shift over here. And as you guys can see, I do have a perfect line over here. And for that, what I'll do is for appearance, I won't select any color. Okay, so I'll just keep zero fill. And what I can do is if I just want to increase this thing, I can basically increase this thing up. So I'll just come here and I'll just select this particular layer. And if I want to create any other shape for that, I always do have my pen tool. Okay, so I'll just select my pen tool right down from here. And what I can do is I can come here and I can just merge this thing up. Okay, so I'll just come here. I will merge this thing and I will just go back here again. Okay, so this is how it actually looks. If I just wanna move this thing around, I can just move this thing a little bit around over here. And if I just wanna select this particular shapes, I can just select those particular shape like somewhat like this. If I want to give this thing a different color, I can actually give this thing a different color here as well. So for that, what I need to do is I need to come somewhat over here and I need to basically choose the color. But the red also kind of looks good, okay, which is not bad at all. So now here I am just done with my t-shirt design. So this is the way how you can actually create your own t-shirt design. So this one kind of looks good, and this is one of the streetwears which you guys can do it for yourself or your friend, or you can just work around with different designs and check which looks good. Okay, now if I want to get a preview of this, for that again I will come over here. If I just want to open up a new file, okay, so if I just come here, go to file and go to open. Okay, so from here, if I do have a t-shirt image, I can basically check this particular image on my t-shirt of how it will look. So you can just get a mock-up of this thing. So I hope you guys have understood this class, and now you guys can actually make some stunning designs using Photoshop. So hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.